years of bolstering them.
And you look at the handling of ISIS, 35% approve, 57% disapprove. A very small percentage of those people, Trump supporters.
Listen, he's a father. I don't understand why he can't look into the camera and say, if you've got kids, you know, traveling home for the holidays, I understand you might be afraid to put them on an airplane. You don't have to be. Here's why. I don't understand why he can't tap into his own humanity. He musters more of it when he talks about saving the planet than he does when talking about keeping kids safe around this time of year when people are traveling. People are scared, and that's not a partisan issue. He's been incapable for a nanosecond since the Paris attacks of speaking to the country as a human being about the fact that they're scared. He's reduced any rational fear. People don't understand the refugee program. People don't understand how exhaustive the vetting is. And he blamed anyone who was afraid. He called them cowards and said, you're afraid of orphans and women. He has been a jerk.
Well, and Mika, we were talking the morning after the attack. You had a lot of your liberal friends that never voted for Bush, never voted for Republicans, talking to you, saying, you know what, they're coming here next. That happened in Paris. They are coming here. We're going to have to get ready, and we're going to have to do things that we don't want to do. This is in the president's fantasy world. He believes that this is only right-wing freaks at Tea Party rallies who are saying this. No, these are your liberal friends, my liberal friends, independents, moderates, conservatives that fear the attack is coming. Roger Cohen with the New York Times basically said, you want to save Paris, you've got to beat ISIS.
Look, I think the need to address the sort of mood of the American people and the fears that people have at this point. I know my own daughters are asking me a lot of questions about terrorism. This is very real to us. And there hasn't been a real kind of sense that there is a connection between the president and the American people on that. If you look at his words, because I challenged myself on this last night, looking at the words he said, they're strong. But there's something missing in the connection.
Isn't there?
As far as, you know, mention the refugee program, if you follow the White House's Instagram on the refugee program,
well,
you'll learn a lot. No, you would learn. I'm saying do it. Well, you should, Nicole.
But I've read, there's an incredible article in the New York Times about the program.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same.
My point is that the public being scared, but the public being scared is not the public's fault. Obama wants to blame the public and call them afraid of. He could take the moment to educate them.
Some Republican jerks.
But there are other people. My point is there are people other than Republicans who are scared, who would benefit from understanding the exhaustive vetting that goes into allowing a refugee here. Obama has failed his obligation to educate people. Instead of standing up and saying, you know, taunting people and wagging a finger and saying you're afraid of orphans and women, why not take your few minutes to educate people?
Here's what's so interesting, Willie. We talked about Charleston. In my household, we don't sit around and watch TV. We don't watch the news in my household. In my household, when the president started talking about Charleston, everybody stopped.
Silence.
And we all stared at the TV set. And everybody sat there, and when he sang Amazing Grace, we were tearing up. We sat there, and I said at that moment, I am so glad at this moment he is president of the United States. And we as a family, and this country as a family, we all connected. Forget the BS about the balkanization of America and there are two Americas or 10. At that moment, we were one America. We keep our TV set off now, Willie, because like Mika's children, my family, millions of other Americans' families are fearful, and we want that president we saw in Charleston. We want that president that we saw after Newtown. We want that president that we saw in Boston 2004. Muster as much passion about keeping our children safe as he did after Charleston, as he did after Newtown, as he did for his own political advancement in 2004. And we're not seeing it.
Many people have made the case that those were the best moments of his presidency. I would agree with that. After Newtown, after Charleston, to bring people together and to explain what's happening, to explain what's going to happen next. I understand it's his strategy, and it always has been, to project calm, no drama, Obama, just be cool about everything. The only question is, what is he doing to fight the problem? So you may not like his style, but what about the strategy? Does he understand, despite what he may project emotionally, that this is a serious problem? Is he fighting it in ways we don't know? I think the answer, of course, is yes.
We would hope
despite
so,
what
Willie.
we see.
But when he says that it's the media who's just whipping everybody into a frenzy, and there are killers with good social media, and they can't strike the United States. These are official statements, and that they're a JV team. And then you can put a Kobe Bryant jersey on a JV team, and they're still a JV team. And on, and this has been going on for 2 years. You start to think that he's got an axe to grind, and he wants to prove to history that at the end ISIS really was much ado about nothing. It doesn't seem. So how do you develop a strategy to protect the homeland if the president is saying after Paris, oh, they can't attack the homeland?
Look, I think there's two parts in what you just said. The first part is that there's no doubt that over the last 2 years, the administration has miscalculated, misunderstood, underestimated what ISIS amounted to. I don't think that was a failure of rhetoric. I think it was a failure of intelligence and policy. Now we are where we are, and everybody knows what ISIS is. And now I think is the moment for him to articulate a strategy and to reassure the country